Welcome to the lure of temptation. Each story is a personal encounter with weakness, through which each person will rise up to escape the traps of temptation around. And today we come to the topic, early signs of gambling addiction. It always starts small, just a bet or two, but it never stays that way. Are you gambling for fun, or are you trying to escape something? If you've asked yourself that question, you might already be in deeper than you think. Gambling, in its many forms, has been a part of human culture for centuries. From simple games of chance to complex betting systems, the thrill of risking something valuable for the potential of a greater reward can be alluring. For most people, gambling is an occasional activity, a form of entertainment to be enjoyed responsibly. However, for others, gambling can evolve from a harmless pastime into a compulsion that disrupts lives, relationships, and finances. Recognizing the early signs of gambling addiction is crucial, not only for those at risk but also for their friends and loved ones. Early intervention can make a significant difference, helping individuals regain control before the consequences become overwhelming. At the core of gambling addiction lies a powerful cycle, a cycle fueled by excitement, hope, and sometimes desperation. Understanding the early warning signs is the first step in breaking this cycle. These signs can be subtle at first, often mistaken for enthusiasm or a phase that will pass. But as time goes on, patterns emerge, and it becomes clear that gambling is starting to take precedence over other aspects of life. One of the earliest signs of gambling addiction is a preoccupation with gambling. This isn't simply enjoying a game of cards on the weekend. It is a persistent fixation, thinking constantly about betting, strategizing the next wager, or reliving past wins and losses. When someone begins to plan their days, social outings, or even work breaks around opportunities to gamble, this is a signal that gambling is starting to dominate their thoughts and routines. Another early indicator is the need to increase the amount of money wagered in order to achieve the same level of excitement. This phenomenon, known as tolerance, mirrors similar patterns seen in substance addictions. What once felt thrilling with small bets now feels flat, unless the stakes are raised. If someone finds themselves continually raising their bets, chasing bigger wins to recapture that initial rush, it may be a warning sign of an escalating problem. Early-stage gambling addiction can also present itself through an inability to stop or cut back, despite repeated attempts. Many problem gamblers initially promise themselves or others that they will gamble less, only to find that the urges are too strong. Failed attempts to control, reduce, or cease gambling, even when there is a genuine desire to stop, are hallmark signs that gambling is moving beyond a recreational activity to a compulsion. Irritability and restlessness are common when a person who gambles compulsively tries to scale back or quit. This withdrawal-like response is a clear indication that gambling has started to affect the brain's reward system. Just as someone dependent on a substance experiences discomfort when deprived, individuals with gambling addiction experience psychological distress when they can't gamble. This can manifest as mood swings, anxiety, and a short temper, especially when confronted with the possibility of missing a gambling opportunity. Financial warning signs often appear early, too. At first, these may be subtle, borrowing small amounts of money, hiding receipts, or being vague about where money has gone. Over time, as losses mount, individuals may resort to more serious behaviors such as taking loans, pawning possessions, or diverting funds meant for bills or essential expenses. It's common for problem gamblers to believe that a big win is just around the corner, the notorious chasing losses mindset. Each loss becomes a motivator to gamble more, not less, in a desperate attempt to recover what was lost. A growing secrecy surrounding gambling habits is another classic early sign. Individuals may begin to gamble alone or at unsociable hours to hide their activities from friends and family. They might downplay how often or how much they gamble, or even lie outright when questioned. This secrecy feeds a cycle of guilt and shame, which in turn can drive further gambling as a way to escape unpleasant emotions. Social withdrawal often accompanies this increasing secrecy. Someone developing a gambling addiction may begin to drift away from friends, family, and social activities that once brought them joy. They may make excuses for missed events, preferring instead to spend their time gambling or recovering from the emotional impacts of their losses. Relationships can become strained as loved ones notice behavioral changes, moodiness, or growing financial troubles. Another early sign is a shift in emotional responses associated with gambling. While early gambling experiences typically revolve around excitement and fun, the emotional landscape changes as addiction takes hold. Feelings of guilt, anxiety, and depression may start to overshadow enjoyment. Losing becomes increasingly painful, and winning offers only temporary relief, often followed by more anxiety and urges to gamble again. Over time, gambling becomes less about enjoyment and more about escaping negative emotions. Problematic gambling can also influence work and personal responsibilities. At first, this may look like distraction on the job, using work hours to research odds or check gambling websites, or taking frequent breaks to place bets. Eventually, more serious consequences can unfold. Missed deadlines, poor performance, increased absenteeism, or even disciplinary action. In severe cases, some people resort to theft or fraud at work to fund their gambling or cover their losses. Some individuals also experience physical symptoms as a result of gambling-related stress. Insomnia, headaches, and digestive problems are not uncommon among those who are struggling. Additionally, because problem gambling is often associated with other behaviors such as drinking or smoking, overall health may begin to decline. While these warning signs do not always mean a person has a gambling addiction, they serve as important red flags. The earlier these behaviors are recognized, the greater the chance that the individual can seek help and avoid the severe consequences that unchecked gambling addiction can bring. Unfortunately, denial is a common roadblock. Many individuals refuse to acknowledge the seriousness of their behavior until they are facing mounting debts, broken relationships, or legal trouble. If you recognize these early signs in yourself or someone you care about, it's essential to approach the situation with empathy and support. Stigmatizing or shaming someone for their struggle rarely helps. Open, non-judgmental conversations can provide the foundation necessary for healing and change. Encourage seeking professional help, whether through a therapist, counselor, or support group, specifically for problem gambling. Beyond personal efforts, many resources exist to support those affected by gambling addiction. Helplines, online forums, and community organizations offer education, counseling, and peer support. Taking the first step, reaching out and admitting there's a problem, is often the hardest, but it is also the most critical milestone on the road to recovery. In summary, gambling addiction doesn't typically begin overnight. It emerges through a series of behavioral, emotional, and financial shifts that escalate over time. Preoccupation with gambling, increasing bets, failed attempts to control the urge, irritability, secrecy, financial troubles, and social withdrawal are all early warning signs that should not be ignored. Spotting these signs early and responding with compassion and appropriate support can make all the difference, restoring hope and helping individuals reclaim their lives from the grip of gambling addiction. Thank you for watching The Lure of Temptation. If today's video resonated with you, know that awareness is the first step to change. You're not alone, and it's never too late to take control. Subscribe to our channel for more real stories, expert insights, and the guidance you need to break free from the grip of gambling. Stay strong, and remember, temptation may whisper, but you have the power to walk away.